Hey guys, this is Seth. I'm doing kind of a unique video. I'm actually driving back home from the arcade right now, and a thought struck my mind. I know that a lot of people reach out to me and they leave comments asking about what kind of pad I use, and it seems like a lot of people discover DDR or rediscover DDR after some years and are interested in learning about the best way to start playing and get better. There are a lot of people that are really eager to go out and buy the best DDR pad, or they want to set up a home arcade or find just whatever the nicest setup they can have at home is. I wouldn't really recommend doing that, and I wanted to make a little video talking about how I would recommend getting into DDR if you're a complete beginner. So, if you're watching this video, I assume that you've been to the arcade recently and you saw Dance Dance Revolution, or you just thought about it and you were interested in starting it up again in 2024 just as a way to work out or to rediscover the hobby. So what I would recommend, if you want to start playing Dance Dance Revolution, I would recommend finding your nearest Dave & Buster's or Round 1 arcade, scoping it out, seeing if they have a Dance Dance Revolution machine. Just go and buy a $20 power card. If they have a DDR cab, go ahead and play it there. You might also be able to check out some barcades or local arcades near you. A lot of barcades have invested in older DDR machines, like DDR Extreme. That might be something that you're more familiar with. Some arcades have Step Maniacs, which is very similar and inspired by Dance Dance Revolution. It's another foot panel game where you might find Pump It Up, which is the Korean version of DDR. But yeah, if you're just interested in starting, I would recommend checking around your local area, see if there's a Dave & Buster's or Round 1 or a barcade with DDR. And just try it out. It's very low investment. Now as you start going, just don't even worry about score. The first thing I would recommend is just play a lot of songs, discover what level you like to play, and just have fun. Don't worry about your progress too much. A lot of people get into the hobby and they want to get full combos, they want to get perfect full combos, and I feel like they burn out or stress themselves out pretty quickly. I recommend just finding what level range you like to play at. You know, maybe it's just beginner and basic songs, or you want to challenge yourself and play harder songs on difficult and expert. Just find whatever you really like and stick with that. And that's a great way to get started. I recommend with any kind of hobby, if you're just getting started, whether it be music, DJing, playing an instrument, do not spend a whole lot of money getting into it. Just spend as little money as you have to enjoy it, and see if it's something that really resonates with you and something you would want to do week after week. So I would say that's stage 1, just go out and play. Stage 2, if you find yourself going to the arcade week after week, or you make a few friends playing DDR and you want to get more into it and track your progress, if you go to Dave & Buster's or Round 1 and you have a DDR machine that is online, and it will say on the screen if it's online or not, then you have the opportunity to buy a Amusement card and save your progress. So what an e-amusement card is, it's a game card. It's a little plastic card, completely separate from any power card or what you would use to load credits at the arcade. But it's a card made by Konami specifically to save your progress in Dance Dance Revolution. So if you go to round 1, you might be able to buy an e-amusement card at the front desk. If you have Dave & Buster's near you, you might be able to get one at the front desk. If not, there are a few resources for buying one online, and it's always less than $10 to buy the card. There's no membership fee. It's just something that you scan on the machine. So if you want to take your play to the next level, I would recommend buying one of those, getting registered, and using that to track your progress. The nice thing about e-amusement is you'll always be able to see your previous scores on each song. You can sort songs by your clear rank, so you can see, okay, these are the songs I've played and failed. These are ones that I've gotten an A on, I've gotten a double A on, and so on and so forth. So that would be the next step, is buying an e-amusement card. Now, if you live close to an arcade and you have good access to DDR, then you might be all set. You might be fine with just going to the arcade and playing there. I would certainly recommend that, because it's a great way to socialize and meet other players. And one of the best things about DDR is that it's a social activity, and you can make a lot of great friends playing it. You can also find people around your level to be competitive with. You can make rivals, and you can share tips with people that you play with. Now, if you live a little far from an arcade, or your arcade experience isn't that great, then you might consider investing in a home setup. So there are a few different levels of investment when you're buying a home setup as well. You don't need to buy any kind of fancy computer to play DDR at home. And I would say, if you're just interested in playing at a low level and you want to relive the nostalgia of the early 2000s with DDR, you might be able to go to a used game store and pick up a plastic dance mat. A lot of the plastic mats that Konami made back in the day are still around. You can buy one used at a retro game store or on eBay, and you can buy some of the older mixes for PlayStation 2 or Xbox. I personally like DDR Max or DDR Supernova if you're playing on PlayStation 2. The Ultramix series is very good on Xbox. And there are a few games on Xbox 360 or PS3 that you can play. So that's a great cheap option. If you're interested in having a little bit better of an experience and you want to play harder songs, up to level 15 on the new rating scale, if you want to play up to like max 300 level, then you might want to consider investing in an LTEC. Now, what an LTEC is it's a dance mat made by a company in Poland. They retail for a little around $300, and they ship internationally, so shipping is a little bit expensive. But LTECs are some of the most reliable, best bang for your buck dance pads that you can get. And they have a USB-B connector, so it's USB-B to be USB-A. So you can connect it into any computer that has a USB port. And if you buy an LTEC pad, then you can play Stepmania, which is a free version of DDR created by the DDR community. It has just about any song you can think of. You can download it and play it on Stepmania. Or you can emulate DDR. You can use MAME to emulate the arcade versions of DDR. You can subscribe to the official home version of DDR, which is called DDR Grand Prix, which you might see if you watch some of my other videos. There are a ton of options. LTEC is amazing. If you've ever seen Cow-Eye play, he uses an LTEC. I use an LTEC, and they're just great. They're an awesome mid-range option if you want to play DDR at home. Now, I would say for about 95% of players, you can get away with just visiting the arcade or buying an LTEC if you want to have a decent experience. There are more expensive options. For example, you can look around for arcades that are closing or selling their machines. If you're very lucky, you might be able to find a DDR machine up for sale near you. Unfortunately, there aren't a ton of old DDR machines out there in public, so they don't go up for sale very often. You might need to check Facebook groups or local auctions to get your hands on one. But they are out there. Another option is there is a company called Stepmaniacs. Actually, the company is called DanceDanceRevolution, but they make a dance pad called Stepmaniacs. And these are very high-end, nice dance pads that you can purchase. They do run upwards of about $1,400. But they're very well constructed. They feel a bit different from the arcade experience, but they light up. They're very customizable. They do take a little bit more work to get fine-tuned if you're playing at a high level. But there are a lot of streamers that use Stepmaniacs pads. I personally don't have that much expendable income, so I never invested in one. But I believe Moist Critical, there was this girl that he streamed with a few times, and they use Stepmaniacs pads that are very nice. And those can be used with Stepmania, they can be used with DanceDanceRevolution Grand Prix. Of course, they can be used if you emulate DDR at home. But, yeah, that is the more expensive option. But yeah, that's what I would recommend. I know this is kind of a long-winded video, but I just wanted to make this video to say, Dance Dance Revolution is growing, and you don't have to spend a ton of money to get into the hobby. I really recommend you check out your local scene, see if there is a DDR cab near you, and then don't spend a ton of money right away to buy a DDR cab or a top-of-the-line DDR pad at home. Don't buy any of the old, crusty Blue Shark DDR pads. There are a lot of old DDR pads from the 2000s that go up for sale sometimes, and most of them aren't very good. I would highly recommend an LTEC, if anything. And you might be fine just going to the arcade and spending your time there until you decide that it's something that you're really serious about. So yeah, if you have any questions about DDR or you're interested in getting more involved, I'll put some links in the description. I do read all the comments, so please leave a comment if you have any questions. And I hope to see you at the arcade someday.